Who I am, my name is Annie Adkins. My husband Jay and I have been in real estate. This is our 20th year, so whoop, whoop, 20-year anniversary. And we do all types of things, whether that's rentals. We currently have 24, and we're looking at adding those. We've done vacation rentals. We just sold one in Florida, the last one that we had. So we've done that for 5 or 6 years as well. And we do wholesaling, we do creative financing, we do a little bit of everything. So we are in the Columbus, Ohio area, and we have a team. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to present about and talking with Stacy and everybody else, we used to work for, well, I say work for, but we used to coach for a business. I think it may even be international at this point, but it was Life and Air. And Life and Air was the first kind of, not really the first, but the first convention, if you want to call it, or workshop that we went to that really hit home with me as far as a vision is concerned, and really having a plan and putting a plan into place along with boundaries and different people to help you do things so that you accomplish what you want to accomplish, but you're not working 60, 80 hours a week. That really made no sense to me, because you can only work as much as you can work then, right? You can't build on what you want and develop the business that you want, plus have a life outside of the business if you are the only one doing the only thing. So, or all of the things. So when I heard about vision and getting a mastermind or a coach or at least an accountability partner, it really made sense to me. And it really made me think about how we wanted to develop our business from that point forward. Because when we went to the Get a Life is what they called it, right? The 3-day Get a Life event. So when we went to that event, my husband was working 80 hours a week. We have 4 smaller children at that point in time. Now they're all either young adults or on their way out of the house. But he was working a lot, and I was like, I don't want to work all of these hours. Our kids are only young and small and involved for so long. So time was more important to me. And that event really kind of showed him as well that he doesn't have to do everything. If we have a plan on how to get there and a business vision for what we want, we can tie it all together and make a life before we actually have a booming business that takes over our life. So that's my first question to all of you. Do you guys have a life, or is your business your life? And it's okay if your business is your life, don't get me wrong, but wouldn't it be better if we kind of tailor it to where you have a life and then your business works for you instead of you are constantly working on your business? So that's what we really did with our own business and with our own. Try to put that out to as many people as I can, whether you're in our coaching program or whether I come across somebody that's just totally stressed out about work, that they have no life whatsoever, and they would really like to go on vacation, or they would really like to be able to spend time with their family, and you just can't because you're so in the day-to-day. So if you're working too many hours and you have no boundaries, you're always answering your phone, even if you have an event for your family or at a birthday party or even Christmas, and you're on the phone instead of in the environment that you're supposed to be present in, right? And I totally understand the need for hustle, because my husband is probably the biggest hustler out there and has been for a long time. So I totally understand if you have the mindset that you have to hustle, but you can hustle and still have a life outside of the hustle. So if you feel like you have a lot of scattered thinking and you don't have a plan and there are no boundaries, like I mentioned, it could make your day less productive every day. And then it kind of builds on that, and your chaos gets kind of out of control at some point, where you just really have no direction. You don't know what you want to do. You don't know what needs to be done first. You're just totally winging it because everything is so out of what you would like it to be. And, you know, it can totally be overwhelming, right? If you have long lists of things to do and, you know, if they're not prioritized, what needs to be done first? What am I supposed to be doing? And then you could get caught up in learning, which is always important. But for me, if I get overwhelmed, I kind of get on Clubhouse or Facebook and or start reading a book, because all of the stuff that's there that needs to be done is so overwhelming that you kind of have to take a break and get out of the day to day and kind of regroup. So our vision for our life and our business kind of really lays that out, and what needs to happen and what I'm going to do for the day versus what I'm going to have somebody else do for me to get things done. So I know the first presentation was about vision, and then the second one was also touching on vision and a game plan. So there's definitely a common theme if we haven't caught on that to that already. But really design your life. Why don't we design our lives, right? I mean, I've talked to lots of people that have spent many hours thinking about what they want for their wedding. And I've known several people to plan even their funerals out before they pass, so that there's no question about anybody and how they want it done. And no fighting over who's going to do what or what we want or how we want it done. So I really kind of looked and said, why don't we design our lives more like we design our weddings or our funerals? And why is nobody really talking about that? So that's why I think a vision is very important. And one of the times that I present, the best exercise that I've found for anybody that has really dove into this topic and had a lot of successes is to do a calendar exercise. And by that, I mean, just take a blank calendar, right? A weekly calendar, like in your journal or in your planner, and just kind of map out what you want your day to look like. If you want to take your kids to school, if you want to take them to soccer practice or dance, or if you want to have a family dinner every evening at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or whatever that is, but lay out your day as to how you want it to look. When we first did this, my husband used a filter that he had to work 9 to 5, right? And that's totally not the point of this exercise. The exercise is to get you to see what you want to do with your life, and then kind of where you have to work in that time frame. So I'm not saying don't work. Believe me, I'm not saying that at all. We work hard, and we work hard in a very specified amount of time. The best story I can think about this, as far as hitting home, would be, when you're going on vacation, you really kind of have a list of to-dos before you have to leave, right? And it's amazing how much you can get done when you know you have a deadline of having to go on vacation, right? So if you have a deadline of what you need to get accomplished, you knock stuff out left and right, I'm sure. Most women do anyway, and most people can if they have a very specified deadline. So for us, the calendar exercise really kind of hit home on what we can do and what we have as non-negotiables. So my top 3 non-negotiables were, I wanted to have family dinner every night and everybody be at the dinner table, because that's something that is so totally being lost these days. And like I said, our kids are only young once, and they're only going to be around for so long as far as in our house on the day-to-day. So family dinner was really important. At the time we did this first exercise, our kids were still in brick and mortar schools. So I really wanted to be able to take the kids to school and pick the kids up from school. So, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock was blocked out for getting the kids to school and getting everything taken care of as far as they were concerned. And then from 2:30 to 3:30 was blocked out so that I could pick them up from school and take them home and get them settled. And then 5 o'clock was dinner. And then after that, that was family time as far as I was concerned. Dance activities, cheerleading activities, basketball, football, whatever the case may be. I wanted to be able to take the kids, because for me, family is the most important, and family time. So it's really important to figure out what you want to do, what you can do with the time that you have left, and what you can hire out to have somebody else do for you. And by hiring out, I don't mean you have to hire a full-time person. That was another thing that was stuck in my husband's brain anyway, that, if we hired help, it had to be full-time, it had to be with benefits, it had to be in an office space. And that's not how we started at all with our with our assistants. So again, like I said, what are your non-negotiables? If you want to take your kids to school, if you want to spend time with your husband. My husband and I are high school sweethearts. We met when we were 15 and 16, and we're still together at 45 and 46. And, we used to date all the time before we were married and had kids. We would go out on dates. We would do weekends. As we got older, we would do a weekend away or whatever. But now, in the thick of it all, we had no date time, we had no family time. So a non-negotiable for me was, just Friday nights were date night. Monday through Friday mornings were kid time and getting them to school. So you really have to make sure. Yeah, Stacy, you said, Pete, and you had date night last night. It's funny because we hadn't had date night for years. And now that we've been doing, the vision work and the calendar exercises and stuff like that with our business, as well as our personal life, we have date night every Friday night, as long as we're not in quarantine, which we are right now because our youngest has COVID. But we are every Friday night either going out, or we even do date nights in the house. Everyone knows Friday night is date night, so nobody contacts us after 5 o'clock unless it's an emergency. They know that we always are consistent about doing date night right now and have been for years. So it's really important that you decide what your non-negotiables are, what your boundaries are going to be for people that you work with, people that you have as clients, people that you want to do business with. My husband is also a real estate agent. So for him, before we really got laser focused, he always thought that in order to be successful in real estate, you had to answer the phone when it rang, no matter what. And we had a really long, in-depth conversation about doctors have doctor's office hours, and there is someone on call, but every doctor is not available 24 hours a day, right? And bankers have hours, and the loans still get accomplished, and banking still gets done. And just because you're a real estate agent and you need to have that phone ringing, or if you're in real estate and you don't want to miss out on that deal, I totally get that. And sometimes you have to make exceptions, but you don't have to be on the phone all of the time. You can say in a voicemail message that your people get when they call you up, that says, I appreciate you calling me. I realize that this is important. Your time is important to me as well. I hope you realize that, I do want to do business with you, but this time is my block of time to speak to you. And this time is my block of time to look at emails even, so that you're not constantly distracted by everything all of the time, every waking hour, because really we were working from the time we got up until the time we went to bed every day, 7 days a week. And that was not okay as far as I was concerned. It was not fair to our kids. It was not fair to our relationship. And once you kind of zero in on what your non-negotiables are and what boundaries you need to put in place, things go much smoother than you would ever think that they would at the time. So for me, time is more important than any amount of money. You can always make up money. You can always make more money as long as you have a way of doing it. And time is something that you can never get back. So it was really important to me to figure out what my unique, tongue-tied this morning as well, unique genius zone is, and what I'm really good at, what my husband Jay is really good at, and then kind of put people into place that were good at what we needed to have done. So what tasks can you hire out? Which ones are important for you to do specifically and what you're really good at? What things are important for your partner, if you have one, to figure out what they're really good at? And then, what kind of budget, and it doesn't have to be a big budget, what kind of budget do you have to hire out somebody else? We started with a part-time person that was a stay-at-home mom that Most of her kids were still in school. She had one that was or not still in school, but in school. She had one daughter who was in preschool, so just starting out. She wanted to work 2 days a week, and she only needed to make a minimum amount of money. So we started her at $9 an hour, part-time, 10 hours a week. And she really kind of loved it. And then she said, okay, now that she's in school full time, I can work 3 days a week, but I still would like to have 2 days off so that I can get grocery shopping done, my home stuff done, paying the bills, whatever I want to do, prior to the kids coming home from school. So then we bumped her up to 15 hours a week, to 20 hours a week. And she really didn't want to work any more than 20 hours a week. And we started her out at $9 an hour. So it's not like we're breaking our bank. And it was more important to us to have the time and let go of some of that money than to be bogged down, constantly working, constantly doing all of the things that that we weren't necessarily good at. So if you're not good at something, recognize that, be okay with that, and hire somebody that is. Now, I know some people that are just getting started in real estate have a day job, or if you're not just getting started in real estate, you really like your day job and you want to keep it, or for whatever reason, you need to keep it. So, and that's fine. If you have a day job and you don't know really where you want to start, the best piece of advice I have for you is, you get so many vacation days with your day job. Take a vacation day or take a sick day or a personal day and really focus on your vision for your business and where you want it to go in the meantime, as well as working. And then really laser focus that day off from your day job to get your business started. One of our friends from one of our coaching groups that we were a part of actually worked for the government when she first started her business. And she just, she would take 1 or 2 days off that they were giving her for vacation and just kind of focus on her business and where she wanted it to go and do all that she could in those 8 hours. And then she would just work on it in the evening for an hour or two to get it to where, and she would do that like once a month to where she had kind of one day to focus on what she really needed to do. Because if you're working most of the time, you only take a vacation, once a year, if you're lucky, maybe twice. So that's what I was doing when I had a daytime job and working for somebody else. You kind of saved up all of your days and either you didn't use them because you didn't have time to use them, or you used some of them when you went on vacation for a week in the summer with your family, or at least that's what I did. So it really kind of hit home when I heard that she would take just one of her vacation days and really laser focus on that 8 hours to kind of get her business going to where she wanted it to for that time frame. And don't recreate the wheel, right? There's lots of people out there that have businesses similar to what you want, or at least bits and pieces, so that you can pull from, people that or people that you've come across that have the business that you want, that have the lifestyle that you want, and just talk to them and see, how'd you do it? And if you can't get a hold of them in particular in person, then kind of like creep on them, right? Don't be a stalker. I'm not encouraging stalking, but I am encouraging you to kind of just look at other people's businesses, see what they have, see what you like about them, see what you think that you want for your business if you have no idea what you want to do or where you want to go. And ask for help, right? That's what we're here for. I'm sure anybody in this convention or summit or even in REI USA will totally help with any questions that you have, because for me, surrounding myself with like-minded people is number one key to being successful the way that I would like to be successful. Accountability is huge as far as I'm concerned. Even if that accountability is your mom and dad or your sister or your cousin or your neighbor, just somebody to really lay out and say, this is what I like to do. And it's going to sound really crazy to most people. That's why I say like-minded people are a good thing to have around you. Because when you go to somebody and say, listen, I have this great idea. This is what my business is going to look like. I'm only going to work from 9 to 3, Monday through Thursday. I'm taking the weekends off. They're all going to look at you like you're going to start a business and you're only going to work that many hours and you think it's going to be successful. Okay. So, because the mindset for everyone as a group of individuals of human beings on the planet, at least in America anyway, is 9 to 5, Monday through Friday at least, families on the weekends. You have to really focus. You have to work from the time you graduate from college or high school, depending on what you do, until the day that you can retire, which is what keeps increasing every year, it seems like. And then, you're supposed to enjoy life after retirement, which for me, 75 or 74 or whatever the age of retirement is these days, even 65 or 64, that's not okay with me. Why would I want to work my butt off for 40 plus years to be able to enjoy life for the last 10 to 15 or so? When you're older and you can't really do the things that you were necessarily interested in when you were younger. So, really surrounding yourself with like minded people, telling people about your goals so that you're getting them out, not only on paper, but verbally to somebody else. Get involved in a mastermind group if you want, get involved in a meetup, get involved in coaching so that somebody can hold you accountable and be like, listen, this is what you said you wanted, but this is what you're doing. So can you kind of make a connection as to how that's going to help you get to where you want to be? Or do we need to look at things differently to help you get to where you would like to be? And we ourselves are parts of a mastermind coaching group. We coach a mastermind coaching group. And then we also have developed a few accountability groups within those masterminds, as well as in the meetup section. So use your vision for your personal life to help develop a plan for your business, right? And then use your mastermind or accountability groups or accountability partner, or even just your friend that's like, kick me in the butt if I'm not doing what I say I'm going to do, to maintain your focus on that vision, not only for your life, but for your business as well. And like I said, we have a coaching group, we have a mastermind, we developed a meetup that meets once a month before COVID anyway. We were meeting in person once a month. And it doesn't have to be something that you pay for, although clearly, the more you interact with the so-called big hitters, the cost is going to go up for an accountability group, to be honest. But it can be somebody that is, backing you, a friend, like I said, anybody that that will not squash your vision or squash your time and your hard work. So I just wanted to make sure that, it doesn't have to be something that you pay for, and it doesn't have to be something that you reach out and try to find. It can be your friend, it can be a coworker, that that knows what you're doing, or even a family member if they're supportive. But you have to make sure that you're surrounded by people that are supportive of what you're after. So I'm going to have you guys email me if you have any questions about a vision or questions about a business vision. If you have something on paper that you want looked at, anything like that. I love to kind of tweak visions for people and kind of pull out what you would want exactly and make it very real and able to be obtainable. So I am all for doing that. And if anybody has any questions about anything, we can start taking questions, or I can talk about some of our coaching students and how they've managed to do some great things with just being honed in on a vision, and talk about myself and what we've accomplished too. Like I said, Jay was working about 80 hours a week before we kind of really sat down and got clear about what we wanted, and not only for our personal life, but for our business. And then we've taken that business vision that we've done, and we had this business that he was working 80 hours a week and was hitting the ceiling as far as what we could accomplish, and we honed in on what we wanted, and really got clear and precise. And now we work maybe 20-25 hours a week, really laser focused. And he thought taking one day off a month was fantastic for the longest time, and now we take about 12 weeks off a year and just travel and spend time with family, and go and do what we want to do so that we know, and things are still getting accomplished for us, even though we're not here, if that makes any sense.
Andy, can you go in a little bit deeper on the vision and kind of your process of how you came up with yours?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So, what we do is the Wheel of Life is what it's called. You can pull it up online anywhere. There's multiple versions of that, and we look at family, we look at friends, finances, spiritual, health and fitness, and then just any other category that you want to come up with, that's important to you. So, and we really look at where we are versus where we want to be. And then, the goals that you want to set forth. So for instance, let's say 3 years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago now, I was not as healthy as I would like to have been, as we all get, the older we get, most of the time anyway. And I was noticing that I was struggling in different areas with aches and pains. I have back issues, neck issues. I have degenerative discs, all kinds of lovely things. But I was noticing, obviously, the more weight I carried, the more inflamed my body was. So I made a commitment and I put it out there to our group, our mastermind group, that I was going to be bikini beach body competition ready by the next time we met. So we meet every quarter. And so I had 4 months basically. Um, and I hired a trainer because I knew I wasn't going to be able to come up with something to do for myself in that category because I had no experience in that category. I was a cheerleader in high school and I danced competitively from the time I was 3 until I was 18. But being a beach body building competition ready was not my thing. But it was a big, hairy, audacious goal to get myself motivated, right? So I took that and then I met with a trainer and hired somebody that was better than me in that category and knew what she was doing. And she put a meal plan together for me that I had to follow every day, a workout plan that I had to follow every day. And my husband and I sat down and said, okay, this is my goal. And I set a consequence for myself that I could not see myself doing no matter what, so that there was no way that I would back out of this goal. And I just broke it down on a day-to-day basis. How many times did I have to work out every day to get this goal? What did I have to eat each time I ate to get this goal accomplished? And we do that with every section. What do you want? Where are you now? What are the steps that it's going to take to get you there? And then what do you have to do every day to hit those steps? So whether it's a big, hairy, audacious goal like weight loss, and by the way, I could have done that competition in 4 months' time. I dropped 25 pounds and I dropped 13 inches, and I was in the best shape I have ever been since I was dancing in high school, and I felt great. And I've maintained that for a long time. And actually, my husband and I just set a goal again to do an actual competition in November, a physique competition. So it's a big, hairy, audacious goal once again, but I have a plan and a vision for it. So it will be attainable. In your spiritual life, if you want to go to church every Sunday, if you want to find a church that you're good with and you feel at home with, if you want to give back to the community, if you want to do mission trips, whatever the case may be, set the goal and then work it backwards to the daily steps to get you to where that goal is and where you want to be. And we do that every year, honestly. We look at all of our businesses, we look at our vision that we have for our life, and then we break it down into daily steps, weekly steps, monthly steps, quarterly steps, whatever you need to have in order to make that happen. And we have our personal visions hanging in our bedroom or in our bathroom so that we can look at it every day. I know a lot of our students have it on the computers to where they have to flip it up so that you have to look at it every day before you start working. I know some of the coaches that we've worked with have it recorded in their own voice, their vision for their life and for their business, and they listen to it every time they're in the car, just so that you get very acclimated with what you want, and it's in your brain every day. It's soaking into your consciousness or your unconsciousness, and getting it to where you really want to be in life. So I hope that helps a little bit. We can really, I have a video that I can send out to anybody if you want to email me as well. I have a video breaking down step by step how we actually do a vision, and how we go over, all of the different categories and what you really want for your life. And it's truly, personal to you. My husband and I wanted date nights, so we have date night every Friday night. That didn't happen automatically. It was a lot of work, actually, for the first couple months to kind of get it back into the swing of things and going the way that we want it to. We want a vacation with our kids, so we want to make sure that we have time to do that. We like to spend a lot of time one-on-one together, and we try to do goal stacking. So we like to be healthy and work out. So we tried, before COVID, we were working out every day together at some point throughout the day. But we had it on our calendar, and everybody knew that this was our workout time. Now, since we've been home, and even now that we're quarantined with all of this, we still have Beachbody on demand that we can do workouts with, and we do. We've done, like I said, 12 to 15 weeks of vacation a year for quite some time at this point. So it really is important to get it on paper, to get it out to people that you know. Yeah, we're actually planning on doing a cross-country trip at some point, and we've done lots of different things. We flew to Hawaii with his parents, took all of the kids, and stuff like that would just be impossible to think of when we started all of this. It was a dream to do that, right? But we were so focused on building the business and getting it taken care of, and focused on work that your life can get out of control, and even non-existent if you're not careful, because you're so focused on work. And as entrepreneurs, I think it's just innately ingrained in our brains that we have to hustle, that if we don't do it, nobody else is going to, and if we don't do it, we're going to miss out on this, or we're going to miss out on that. But what you really are missing out on is life, right? Life with family members, life with your kids, life with your significant other, life with your friends, even life by yourself. I mean, somebody has somebody somewhere that you would like to spend some time with that you don't spend as much as you would like to. So we really just try to focus on the categories that are important to us, and make sure that we know exactly what we want and what the non-negotiables are. All right, does anybody else have any questions?
I love it. Awesome. Yeah, my husband and I are the same way. Essentially, we travel 6 to 8 months out of the year. And actually, I love that I like the world is becoming virtual.
Right?
I mean, we can be anywhere in the world.
Yes, exactly. You can do whatever you want from wherever you want. And that's really key for us too. We have a plan to move to Florida full time in the next 3 years when our youngest turns 18. And we have zero plan on stopping anything that we've created in Ohio, because we have the people in place. We have the solid background and the vision of where we want things to go. And we have no problem thinking that that's doable.
Well, see, and in the real estate investing world too, I love that, like, because our goal is just to have as many vacation homes as possible.
Yep.
So we can have kind of like several home bases.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like, we live in one place. We have like a whole bunch of different places that.
Yeah, and you can go to, and our daughter, who is 16, she has a plan now too, to go cross country when she graduates. She's like, I need to flip at least one house, maybe two, so that I can get a van, so that I can renovate the van, so that I can get a dog, so that I can go.
I
And
love
she's like, and when I go, Mom, I can find houses for you in every state that I go, and then I can work on flipping them for you while I'm there so I can earn money. She's got the whole plan out for us already.
I know it's going to be interesting to see like how kids grow up like over the course of the next 10 or 20 years. Like what's,
Yeah.
'cause I think we're like back in the day, I would have never thought of that, but
Right, me neither. And there's so much, their brains are soaking up that they're seeing us do, and that they're hearing us learn things from other people, because we're always learning. And our oldest daughter's in college, but our son didn't want to go to school, so I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to go to school, but you have to constantly be learning something to better yourself, to make improvements on yourself, to make improvements on what you can and cannot do. So he's working for us in our construction company. He and our middle daughter love doing that kind of stuff. Our oldest daughter flips houses. She has it hired out because she's in school full time, but she flipped a house when she was 16 to buy her first vehicle. Now she's flipped a house to pay for college. It's just interesting, just already at 20, 18, 16, and 14, how much they have learned from our mistakes and from how we do life now, that they have like a total different plan than I ever would have at 16, 17, 18 years old.
I love that. I love that so much. So, okay, good. So if anybody has any questions, just let me see. Do you want to, let's see, do you see anybody that has any questions? It's kind of hard to see.
I don't see any questions.
Because we have to unmute. So turn your video on if you have a question. Turn your video on. And then that way we can unmute you. So, okay, Mike, let's unmute Mike. He said, looks like he has a question.
Let's see.
Unmute yourself, okay, Mike?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks for your presentation.
No problem.
Yeah, I went to Life in there too. Did you come to the one in Atlanta?
I think my husband was at the one in Atlanta.
Yeah, well, I was there then about 2 years ago or so.
Yep.
So yeah, that had motivated me quite a bit. I guess I retired from the phone company, so I hate cold calling.
Yeah. I hate cold calling, and I never worked for the phone company.
So I mean, but that's what I'm looking forward to get somebody part-time to do.
Yeah.
Would you have any other suggestions? I really don't want to go with anybody in the Philippines. I'd like somebody kind of like local.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I guess to say that and the reason for being here, to get the idea, get the juices flowing, that I'll probably put out something on Craigslist for somebody part-time to do that. But I guess is how, if you have any suggestions, how would I hold them accountable, or I could keep a track of how many calls that they had?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. We've had something similar. I don't know if you use any kind of CRM or any kind of, we used Mojo Dialer when we were doing some cold calling, to where it kind of tracks how many hours they were on, and it's a fee, obviously, to have that system, but that's one that we used that was very good at keeping track of how many dials they made, how many hours, but yeah, how many contacts they actually made, how many minutes they were on the phone with each person, and overall, how many
I had started with
phone
them,
calls
so
they did.
Yeah, I had started with them, so I guess probably I'll go back, because I haven't found anything really.
Yeah, we haven't found anything, that works as well as that does. And when we place an ad for anybody, we really kind of, and this is just a tip, you don't have to use it, obviously, but I've put in ads before, different things, just like put a smiley face in the response, in the subject bar in your responding email, so that they can pick up to see if they actually read the whole ad, and if they pay attention to detail for you. And then I've also had them do a DISC test assessment that kind of tells you if where they're at. I don't know if you've ever heard of that or not, but it's a free service, DISC test. I'll put that in here. We use that one, as well, a DISC assessment, and then predictive index too. And that tells you what their strengths, what their weaknesses are, how the best way to manage that person is, how to speak to them so that you can get through and not, have miscommunication or walls go up or anything like that. So
Oh,
it really kind of helps either one of those assessments figure out what their strengths are versus what they shouldn't be doing.
sounds
Because
good.
there's people out there that think they are great at something and that's not what they should be doing at all, right?
In other words, a legend in their own mind, huh?
Exactly. We've come across quite a few of those people, legends in their own minds.
All right. Thanks, Annie.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, put your video on, unmute yourself if you want, or you can unmute yourself, but then put your video on if you want to ask a question so we can unmute you. That's good. I did the disc assessment, and I'm a director.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Hard to say that, right? Imagine that.
Yeah, it's so funny, but I love that assessment too. I like doing these assessments because it helps you kind of give yourself like an awareness. It's like, oh yeah, I am that way, or like you get
Right.
to do it. It's like, oh yeah, he is that way. Maybe I shouldn't talk to him like
maybe I'm not the best at that. Maybe I should hire somebody else to do that.
Yes.
And you can rearrange your team then too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I should get Christy to take the disc. We should do the disc assessment for her. She's on here. She's the event manager for me.
Yeah.
You should do the assessment, Christy, so I can see how I'm supposed to talk to you. Okay, cool, good. Any other final questions for vision? Anything on vision, or even with Annie? I'm telling you, Annie is like, she's a badass investor. So
well, thanks.
Mike can come and ask. Yeah, so she's
yeah,
doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I presented on vision, but I can totally talk about really anything. Creative financing, we broker hard money, we do fix and flips, we do rentals, we do vacation rentals, we do wholesaling, we do it all. So any question on anything real estate or vision.
What has changed over the last 20 years in real estate investing for you? I'm interested to know that.
Yeah, over the last 20 years, we have our first goal when we first started was to get rentals, right? And the only way that we knew how to get rentals at that time was to get bank loans, go after regular financing. And like what was said earlier, you can only do so many of those before the bank's like, we're not going to lend to you anymore, either because you don't have enough money to put down on this one, or you have too much debt to income ratio. So now, throughout the 20 years, Jay has gotten his real estate license. We used to own a mortgage company, so we know all the ins and outs of all the mortgaging. I used to have my loan officer license. He was doing the houses and working with buyers, and then he would offer my services as a possibility for a loan officer. And we just learned as much information as we could on real estate. And now 20 years later, we use very little of our own money, if any at all. We do lots of creative financing deals. We do lots of teaching on all of the ins and outs of what we've learned over the years. We lost everything that we had when the crash occurred, including our own personal house, and we've rebuilt doing different things different ways. So we no longer have ARM loans, and if we do, they're very low loan to value so that we can keep things under control. And if we have another market crash, there's nothing really that we should be losing because everything is so low on loan to value, and we could sell if we needed to or refinance if we needed to or whatever. Some of our creative financing strategies are taking over subject to properties, so subject to the mortgage that's in place. We do very little marketing outside of word of mouth now, but we've been in it, like I said, 20 years in the same area. So there's lots of people that know us and know that we help. The main goal for us as a business and as a couple is to help as many people as we can in whatever situation that they are in. So we come across a lot of people that are tired landlords, or landlords that just do not want the house anymore, or people that really would like to have a different house but can't get out of the house that they're currently in because of whatever reason. Our most recent one that we've taken over is just a couple that is older and just does not want to mess with the house anymore. And, you know, we've talked about them and what they really wanted and what they really needed. And we just have decided that we're going to pay them a specific amount of money every month, and we're gonna buy it on basically a lease option. So we'll have a balloon payment at the end of a 5-year period. We originally asked them about 10 years, but then they're like, no, we really don't want to do 10 because we'll be in our 70s by then and we don't want to have to mess with it at that point. So we just really try to focus in on what the seller needs and what we really can offer them, and try to make it work. But that's our most used creative financing strategy, is just subject to. And yeah, we typically do trust. My husband just sent me a note. We do a trust. So a land trust. We put the house that we're going to take over subject to in a land trust so that the existing owner of the house is still owner of that property, so that the banks don't call the loan due.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can use
I
the
need-
land trust for the subject to then.
The plug.
Yeah,
Yes.
because we buy everything in land trusts as well. So
Yeah.
I never really thought about it that way, but I guess you could just keep it in the land trust so that way it looks like
Yep.
the same
The owner. The owner of record is it's like 123 Main Street or Joe Smith Land Trust of 123 Main Street, so that the owner of record is still owner of record. And then it typically does not call the loan due from the bank that way.
And somebody asked, where do you learn how to do subject to? William Tingle is a teacher for REI USA. Okay, William Tingle, and he's teaching on a regular basis for REI USA. So
Nice.
if you're definitely interested in subject to, then just sign up for you'll see his stuff coming up here in the next couple of days. We're going to put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
So he's our expert subject to teacher.
Yeah.
And that's what he teaches.
Okay, cool. We also have a course on subject to that we can get in touch with anybody that that's interested in that. If you just want to send me an email too, that would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the more you can learn, the better off you'll be from multiple different people. So yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. So you're definitely well-rounded. And that's what happens. That's what happens when you invest in real estate for 20 years.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever,
whatever
comes to your plate, you're like, and essentially that should be everybody's vision and goal. That's what I teach my students is like,
yeah, us too.
Vision should be like, whatever comes across my plate, I know I'm going to be able to do something with it.
Right. Because then when you go to speak to a seller, you have multiple options for them. You know, subject to may not be the best option for them, and selling outright may not be the best option, but then you can present anything and everything in between that they can kind of pick and choose what they want to do.
I love it.
That best fits their help.
Yes, yes, yes. And don't worry for everybody here that's on and they're like, what the hell is subject to? Like, I don't know what she's talking about right now. So that is the whole purpose of REI USA. Is like to get in there and really start learning about all the different ways you can invest in real estate. And in fact, you can go back to the replays that I did over the past couple of weeks. I just did one. It's called Should I or Shouldn't I Invest in Real Estate? And it just goes through all the different ways you can invest in real estate. So I said, that's another thing with REI USA is you can go into the members portal and click on training replays.
Nice.
All of the webinars that have been done over the last month, you can watch those as well too. And on top of that, there's 2 free online courses so far within REI USA. One of them is a wholesaling course.
Okay.
Which is like, you could just watch that if you want to learn how to wholesale. And then number 2 is my course, which is called the 7 Critical Steps for Starting Real Estate Investing. And it's just it's like 7 modules. And it's just like the first 7 things that you should be doing.
Cool.
right? So those are available also in the members portal. So like I said, keep going to the members portal and really, kind of familiarizing yourself with everything, because the truth is that everything that you need is going to be in the members portal to get started with real estate investing.
Awesome.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, Annie, for hanging out with us today and sharing all your expertise.
Oh, no problem. It was fun.
We appreciate it. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, good. And then I think, Annie's email's there, so you can email her at any time and just contact her if you have any questions or anything like that. Okay.
Absolutely.